I never imagined I'd ever cross paths with him again. You know those moments when it feels like life is finally settling down? Like you've left all the chaos behind, the hurt, the shame, the betrayal, buried so deep it almost feels like it never happened. That's where I was before Kelly came into my life. It took more than a year to feel remotely normal again after everything I went through with my ex. I had loved her without question, blindly and completely. We had lived together for over a year before I discovered she was sleeping with someone else. And it wasn't just anyone. It was Mike, a guy we both knew through mutual friends. Someone fully aware of my existence. He walked into my home, into my world, and tore it apart like it meant nothing. Found them together. That image is forever burned into my memory. I can still see her half-dressed, her blouse clinging to one arm. The way her face froze in panic when she saw me. The way he didn't flinch, just stood there, smug and silent. The clatter of my keys hitting the hardwood floor. The crushing weight of betrayal pressing into my chest. She wept, said she was sorry, blamed it on being bored, claimed I was too emotionally unavailable. I didn't wait around to hear the rest. That night, I walked out with nothing but my wallet and phone and ended up sleeping on a friend's couch. 2 days later, I blocked her number. Dating was the last thing on my mind after that. I couldn't even entertain the idea. Something deep inside me had shattered that night, and nothing had ever quite fixed it. Then Kelly came along. She was easy to be around. Thoughtful, but not in a way that felt forced. Clever. Curious about me but never pushy. There was something calming about her presence. She didn't rush anything. We spent months going on quiet coffee dates, taking aimless drives at night, just talking. Before I realized it, I was laughing again. Looking forward to messages. Smiling at my phone like a teenager. About 6 months in, we made it official. She knew I had a rough past. I didn't go into specifics right away, but she understood that someone had cheated on me and left me wrecked. Then came the night of her company's summer gathering, a rooftop party downtown. She looked stunning. A sleek black dress hugged her frame perfectly. Her hair swept up just enough to reveal the graceful curve of her neck. She couldn't wait to introduce me to everyone. Her co-workers, her managers, her circle of friends. We moved from group to group, laughing, sipping drinks, soaking up the warm night air. And then I saw him. The emotional jolt hit me like a punch to the gut. Shock, fury, pain. Like a wave of memories I thought I'd long buried crashing all at once. There he was, leaning against the bar, smiling like he had every right to be there. Our eyes locked. For a second I was sure he recognized me too. But he didn't say anything. Neither did I. Later that evening, when we were back at Kelly's apartment, I sat on the edge of her couch, my pulse racing. "Kelly," I began, my voice tighter than I intended. "That guy at the party, Mike. How do you know him?" She looked puzzled at first. "Mike. He's in marketing. We've known each other a few years." I nodded slowly, a knot forming in my chest. "Were you two ever involved?" She paused, visibly uncomfortable. "Not seriously. We hooked up a while ago. It was casual. Way before I met you." I fell silent. Her expression grew tense. "What's going on?" she asked gently. I met her gaze and, for the first time, told the full story. I said his name. I explained how Mike was the man I had walked in on with my ex. That he had known about me and didn't care. That I saw it with my own eyes. The betrayal. The devastation. Kelly's face went pale. First came disbelief. Then something like guilt. "Oh my God," she said quietly. "I had no clue. I had no idea he did something like that. If I'd known." I shook my head. "This isn't about blaming you. You couldn't have known. But now you do." She reached for my hand. "There's nothing between us. That ended years ago. I don't think about him like that. Especially since I met you." I wanted to believe her. And in many ways I did. But there was still this lingering voice inside me. Old, bitter, cautious, whispering things I couldn't ignore. "He's still around you," I said. "This isn't just a guy you once hooked up with. He's the man who tore my life apart. And now he's in your office, making jokes, sharing old stories, laughing like he didn't ruin someone else's life. And you want me to just be okay with that? She looked like she was carrying the weight of everything I had just said. I understand, she said quietly. I really do. But I promise there's absolutely nothing between us now. If you want me to put some distance between us at work, I will. Honestly, if it helps you feel more secure, I'll switch departments altogether. I hadn't asked her to go that far. Not yet anyway. The room grew quiet after that. Neither of us spoke for a while. Then, eventually, we both let out a soft laugh. She made a playful comment about how I probably wouldn't be tagging along to another work function anytime soon. I told her I wasn't going to let one awful person take away the time I enjoyed spending with her. I was trying. Really, I was. But later that night, when she was fast asleep beside me, I lay there, staring at the ceiling, unable to rest. My mind kept dragging me back to what happened with my ex. How she once looked me in the eye and promised I was the only one. How I believed her without question. And now, here I was, lying next to someone who had once been with the very man who shattered me. And he was still in her life, walking the same office halls every day. I couldn't put into words how much I despised that reality. But Kelly wasn't the same. That's what I kept telling myself. A few days later, we sat down to talk again. This time I opened up more. I explained that Mike's betrayal wasn't just about physical infidelity. It was the way he stripped away my dignity, how he made me feel worthless, like I didn't even matter. I told her about that night, how I'd walked into my own home and found my life in pieces. How I didn't eat for days afterward. How I couldn't sleep. How it felt like I was drowning in silence. She listened the whole time. Then she wrapped her arms around me and held me tight. She told me how sorry she was. Promised she'd never be the cause of that kind of pain. She also reminded me that whatever had happened with Mike was far in the past. That part of her life was over. She was looking for something real now, and she wanted that with me. So I made a choice. I decided to trust her. The following month felt almost normal. We didn't talk about Mike anymore. She didn't bring up much about work, and I didn't ask. We spent most weekends at my place. Cooking, laughing at terrible reality shows, just being together. Her toothbrush appeared in my bathroom one day. Then her hair ties. Little pieces of her started staying behind. It felt like a future was quietly taking shape. Then one night I got a call from her. Her voice trembled. He texted me, she said, repeating it like she was still trying to believe it herself. Mike, he texted me. Then showed up at my desk today. What? I asked, already feeling my chest tighten. He asked if I was happy. Said he could tell I missed him. I told him to back off, but then he said something weird. My jaw locked. Weird how? He made some comment about how you'd never be able to satisfy me the way he used to, she said, her voice thick with disgust. I didn't respond. But then he got too close. Like physically in my space. I had to move away from him. Are you okay? He asked. I went straight to HR, she replied. What did they say? They're taking it seriously. Starting an official investigation. I saved the messages. And a couple co-workers overheard him. Apparently, this isn't the first time he's made people uncomfortable. This was just the last straw. The next day she messaged again. He's been fired. I had to read it twice before it sank in. Fired. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding for what felt like a lifetime. She showed me screenshots, proof that she'd blocked him on everything. There wasn't a shred of emotion left in her voice when she talked about him. No nostalgia. No hesitation. Just sheer relief, laced with anger and disbelief. That night we sat curled up on the couch, her arms around my waist, her head resting on my shoulder. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. I never meant for any of this to happen. But I won't let him destroy what we've built. She looked me straight in the eyes. And if he ever tries anything again, she added, her lips curling into a sly grin, I'll make sure the entire office knows just how underwhelming he really was. I laughed. And for the first time in what felt like forever, it didn't feel forced. I don't know exactly what lies ahead. Some wounds never fully disappear. I still tense up when I hear Mike's name. Some songs, certain photos, they still twist something in my chest. Ghosts like that don't just vanish. But I'm choosing Kelly. Not because she's flawless. Not because everything is simple. But because she chose to stand up, for me, for herself, for what we have. Because even with all the baggage and brokenness, she stayed. She fought. And I stayed too. Maybe real love isn't about finding someone untouched by pain. Maybe it's about finding someone who's willing to face it with you, step by step, hand in hand, even if it means walking through the shadows you thought you'd buried long ago.